Good morning and welcome to the Forex Daily Update, brought to you by Pepperstone on Thursday the 2nd of August 2018. I'm Darren Sinden and you can follow me throughout the day on Twitter by using @ds_Pepperstone. Right, let's kick off with a look at the overnight changes and price moves we need to be aware of. A day of dollar gains, and I just want to flag three of those gains if I may. First of all, gains of 0.27% for the US currency against its Australian counterpart. Gains of 0.14% for the US dollar against the Chinese yuan, so further yuan easing there. And the biggest of the day, a gain of just over 1% for the US currency against the Korean won. A dollar index for its part finishing the day at 94.74, rather starting the new day at 94.74, up by around 0.12%, but clearly below that 95 level. And we'll look at the reasons behind some of those moves a little bit later on in the video. Okay then, what's on the calendar? Events that may move the markets today. Well, a reasonably busy calendar. We've already had Australian trade balance data for the month of June. That was out at 1:30 GMT, and we'll look at that a bit later on in the video. To come at 05:45 GMT, we'll have consumer climate data out of Switzerland for Q3. And that'll be followed at 7:15 by real retail sales from the country for the month of June. We jump forward to 8:30 GMT and switch back to the UK for the PMI construction data for July. And then at 11 AM GMT or 12 o'clock London time, we have the pick of the day's events, the Bank of England interest rate decision. You'll remember, of course, that the market has focused its attention on this August meeting since the Bank of England passed on a rate rise back in May. The jury's still out, though, as to whether the bank will actually pull the trigger or not. We'll also have the Bank of England minutes released today at 11 AM and details of the vote, as it's a Super Thursday. And then Mark Carney will give a speech about the bank stance and policy outlook at 11:30 today. Fast forward to 12:30 and jump over the Atlantic to the USA for initial and continuing jobless claims, as of course it's a Thursday. These numbers take on added significance, though, as it's non-farm payrolls day tomorrow. And then to finish up from the US at 1400, we'll have factory orders data for the month of June. And if you're still in the market at 2350 this evening, then you can catch the release of the Bank of Japan monetary policy meeting minutes relating to its most recent interest rate meeting, of course. Okay, breaking news and comment then that's caught my eye overnight. And first of all, the US Federal Reserve sits pat on interest rates, but talked about a US economy that is growing at a strong rate. So that was an improvement in the language in terms of the syntax there, and that strengthening of the language was seen as being hawkish on interest rates. Meanwhile, Hong Kong equities have fallen to 10-month lows as the White House considers increased tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports. And that, of course, comes in the same week that there was talk of a rapprochement and negotiation around trade tariffs between the US and China. So mixed signals from the White House there, and that's what's upsetting many of the markets. Australia's trade surplus turns out to be the largest in 13 months. So even as the trade climate looks to be hardening internationally, Australia is doing quite well on that front, and that's the first time we've seen decent data from the country for a while. But I think that's overshadowed by the bigger picture of Chinese-US trade relations. Right then, food for thought, something to take away with you into the trading day and beyond. Why not think about this? As we get closer to the US midterm elections in November and the many primaries for that in the month of August, it seems a good time to take a closer look at America and its makeup. Now, we may think of the US as being a metropolitan country, but in fact, as the map opposite shows us, it's still a very rural land. And this clever map from Bloomberg shows you the uses that Americans make of their considerable land mass by area. Cow pasture here and range, one of the largest uses. Private timberland over here as well, and it's well worth studying the map and just looking at some of the detail and just realizing quite how small, for instance, urban housing is, or urban commercial use of land. Right, please take a moment to read the risk warning. Trading CFDs and foreign exchange on margin is a risky business. If you're in any doubt about those risks or the suitability of leverage products for you, then please do take the time to contact your Pepperstone account representative, and please do read this risk warning. Thank you for your time.